What's up, guys? Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking us on out. Much appreciated. Much love to you guys. You're beautiful, Not a beautiful day for your Miami Dolphins as they suffer their first loss of the season, falling to the Cincinnati Bengals. So no bueno there. But obviously this game, it felt almost like a loss right away once you saw what happened to Tua Tagovailoa. And I was, bummed in a lot of ways. I was fired up for Thursday Night Football. And this was a really sexy quarterback matchup between Tua against Joe Burrow. I wanted to make fun of Ryan Fitzpatrick so bad. I wanted that to be the topic today of just what a phony this guy is. But I'll save that for another time, another day, I guess, with your ukulele, you fraud, fake, do that interview, and then you pick the Bengals anyway. You rat with a beard. The show poniness he puts on afterwards. I can't with him. I wanted to make fun of Cincinnati, going out there and having spies at Dolphins practices, and then Mike McDaniel one-upping them with having 12-player sets. I wanted all that to be the case. But it's tough, like the main story out of this, of course, is Tua Tagovailoa's health. And what happened to the Dolphins quarterback was it sucks. It's so unfortunate to see. People are pissed. Everybody's mad at the Dolphins right now. I get it. And it's one of these, it's like the Dolphin fans going to defend their franchise, and nobody wants to have a feeling of guilt in this. And, Mike McDaniel sounding outraged afterwards that anybody would think that he's out here fudging injury reports. And I don't think any of that happened. I don't think that the Dolphins came into this with nefarious intentions. I think that you have a hell-bent, competitive-ass sport with a hell-bent, competitive-ass player in Tua Tagovailoa, who has a lot riding on this year, that played a game on short notice, on a short turnaround, with little rest, and he wasn't 100%. And I think that contributed to what happened today. We could sit here, we could talk concussion or past what, arbitrator, independent, blah, 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 blah. The facts are, okay, if we could just go and take things on their face value, or what the player and the coach said to us, was that Tua, in this last game against the Bills, hurt his back. The coach said it was like, Tua told me it was like Gumby, the claymation, of course, lovely creature who was green with his little, I forget what the orange pony's name was. You guys can leave that in the comments for me. Was it Pokey? I want to say it was Pokey off the top of my head. That's neither here nor there. They told me that his back was like Gumby, that it was jacked up. The next day, the coach gets at a podium, and he says that his back is jacked up and that his ankle is messed up. Not even talking about a head injury here. Then they put him on the injury report. He's did not participate, estimated that he would have participated. Then they estimate that he would have been limited. You remember, there's no real practices this week because it's a Thursday night football game. And then they eventually list him as questionable because Tua, when he gets to the podium, he said, I'm going to work around the clock and I plan to play in this game because he has a lot of stake this year. He knows durability is one of those things that's his question. Can this guy get through a full season? So far, he has not. And I do think that meant a lot to him, that he wanted to get through this year and that he wanted to play all the games possible. And I think that he knows that he has a good team here and he wants to be a big reason for that team winning. He is looked upon in this leadership position. But I do think that he went into this game compromised. It doesn't, we could talk about head injury or did the Dolphins pay off a doctor? I don't think that happened. But I do think that Tua Tagovailoa played a game not at 100% with a jacked up back and one that was vulnerable to getting hurt again. And that led to him getting concussed in this game, with him getting spine busted like that, like it was damn WWE Raw. And I don't think that he should, I said this earlier in the week. I said, I didn't say that I thought he shouldn't play, but I said that if he didn't play, I didn't think that was the dumbest decision because you were off to a 3-0 start. You would have given him a lot of rest to get his back all the way right. and his ankle all the way right, get his body all the way right. And, maybe you win this game, maybe you don't, but you ride it off and you're 3-1 at worst, which is the same position you're in right now. And your quarterback's a lot healthier to get through the year. You are given so few opportunities in a football season to say, you know what? We don't need to do everything we can to win this game. It's a rare thing, but you're sitting here. You're one of only, 2 undefeated teams in the league at this point, and your quarterback is not healthy, but is going to try and muster up everything that he can to go out there and play. He said in his press conference this week, it was very hard for him to throw with his back. You could see it today. Even before the hit happened, the guy was not physically all the way right. All the underthrow jokes you guys want to make, but that interception that he had and the ball to Tyreek, he hasn't had a ball like that all year, where he looked like he physically was giving everything he could, and that's the duck fart that he could throw. So watching this happen, people are going to be mad. They're going to be pissed. They're going to be upset. I get it, because you watch what you saw on Sunday and you saw Tua Tagovailoa take a hit, one that wasn't as vicious as this one, and his legs gave out. He says it was a back. People don't believe him. They think it was a concussion. Let's say it was a back. Let's go and take the coaches and the quarterback's word for it. Let's believe them. And even if that is the case, I still think you put a quarterback on a short week in a bad spot because he wasn't all the way healthy. You need you back for everything, dude, especially this QB. He's a guy who puts everything in his body into his throws, and you put him back out on that field before he was ready to be back out on that field. And it's admirable. You as a fan, you should tip your hat to Tua. But these injuries, playing through these injuries, it really just buys these players nothing. It really doesn't. You'd rather have, I feel like you want the healthiest Tua you could have for 15 games than, Tua being at a certain percentage for the rest of them. But people are going to be pissed. Mike McDaniel was lashing out at the media. He was not happy with the insinuation that he was messing with injury reports.
Yeah, otherwise we would have reported him having a head injury. I mean, that's why the NFL has these protocols, and there's not, like every single NFL game that is played, there's an independent specialist that specializes in the specialty of brain matter. So, for me, as long as I'm coaching here, if there's I'm not going to fudge that whole situation. If there's any sort of inclination that someone has a concussion, they go into the concussion protocol, and it's very strict. If people don't vary or stray, we don't mess with that. Never have, and as long as I'm the head coach, that will never be an issue that you guys have to worry about.
And look, I get why Mike McDaniel's pissed. That's a stupid thing or a horrible thing that you would never want the finger pointed at. You would put your players at risk like that, being negligent like that. But I feel like the thing that's being missed here is not the concussion thing. Tua said, and he, as the coach, said that he had a bad back, that his back was hurt, and thankfully, in a weird way, concussion was what happened today, because I think everybody watched what happened and was worried that Tua was damn paralyzed. And if you already had a guy who was on a vulnerable back and took a hit like that, was trying to play through that in an injury he should not have been playing through, because he was already vulnerable. He was already telling you he had the ice packs on his back afterwards, that he couldn't throw the way that he wanted to. This whole thing being, we would never. Okay, fine. But let's be real about this. In this brutal sport, guys are trying to play through stuff all the time. Saw it with Xavier Howard today with his groin injury. Saw it with Jalen Waddle the way that he was playing today. So, for me, I feel like we're kind of getting lost in this. Did the Dolphins try and skate the concussion protocol? I can't rule it out. I mean, I do think that that's probably happened in the league. This is a league that has had to have class action lawsuits for the way they've treated concussed players. I would hope a lot of that stuff has gone in the past. But for me, forget about the concussion. The concussion is what Tua ended up with today for sure. The coach basically said afterwards, thankfully all he had was a concussion. You know, that he wasn't paralyzed, that he could move his extremities. But the part of me that is upset about it is, all right, we could all see that Tua got through this past game against the Bills. Everybody who got to a podium admitted, he's not really all the way there for himself, but he's going to do what he can to play in this game. And the same injury that everybody was worried about and that was jacked up and was not all the way back was what got thrown on in this hit. And, you know, he was left being stretchered off the field. It's a very scary thing. And, you know, part of me is also pissed about this Thursday Night Football thing. I hate Thursday Night Football. You know, you love the idea that you could have a national spotlight for something and that there's juicy matchups, and Tua versus Joe Burrow is about as juicy as it gets. But for me, you know, seeing what we saw today with your team not having like the wherewithal to get all their bodies right sucks. You're not getting the true product. I don't want to see like a bunch of Bills fans, you know, making excuses like like a bunch of crybabies, because Lord knows they haven't shut up since that loss. But I think anybody can agree that like these Thursday Night Football games are trash. They are hot garbage. And to have these guys turn around that quickly is stupid. It is dumb. And I think it was dumb for the Dolphins to have Tua out there. He clearly wasn't all the way right. You could see that even in the snaps that he did take today. He wasn't all the way right. And to put him out there with a jacked up back and then that happened to him is a worst case scenario. And so I don't think the Dolphins were being nefarious, and I don't think they were being evil or anything like that. But in some ways, they kind of got what they deserved, you know, in the idea of it was really dumb of us to have him out there and let him probably push the idea that he should be out there. I think Tua definitely wants to play as many games as possible, but it was a dumb thing to let him go out there. It was stupid. You were in a beautiful position from the first 3 wins you got of this season. It was unnecessary. As far as the game's concerned, which is, you know, pretty secondary to this right now. He, Teddy Bridgewater had some moments, had some, less than thrilling moments. He's Teddy Bridgewater. It was a crusher because you could have taken the lead on that drive, and then the miscommunication between him and Gesicki poops the bed. It's over, and then the Bengals go and stick it in you. That's all she wrote there. Jason Sanders, missing kicks. Dude, I don't know when Sanders going to be all the way back. Chase Edmonds dropping a touchdown from Tua early in the game. A lot of missed opportunities for the Dolphins in this one. So it's a frustrating loss all the way around. Definitely felt like one where you could have probably taken this one. And instead, you're 3-1 and your quarterback's hurt. So it was a double kick in the junk for Dolphins fans tonight.